So essentially we've talked about the protection side of things. So we've talked about information sharing and security from the endpoint of the user who you can control, identity management for your internal organization, and we've talked about it from the data that you can control and how to manage your content so that you allow what you need to allow and deny what you need to deny. The other challenge for information sharing is the notion of the incoming user, the untrusted, semi-trusted user who you've either got a federated identity management, and that's why they're allowed in, or you've given them a username and password. But this individual is coming to you, as it were, out of the ether. You don't have control over the user, you don't have control of their behavior, you aren't necessarily in their management chain, you don't have control over their device. So there's a new technology all of you have probably heard of called NAC, getting a lot of market attention. There are a lot of products in this space. And NAC offers you some options for dealing with the problems that come with an incoming user. So we'll talk a little bit about NAC. I'm not going to talk about all of the features of NAC, just kind of highlight the ones that relate to incoming users. So there's lots of terms and definitions out there. NAC even itself is sometimes given different words to make it up, whether it's access control or admission control. Different vendors have different terminologies. And because of all the market attention and hype and all the Gartner reports that say there's $85 gazillion in it, you're going to see a lot of vendors who say their product is a NAC solution. But there's a couple of things. There's two main things that you have to look for in a NAC solution. The first one is that it's network-based. It's not endpoint-based. It's not host-based. It has to do with the actual enforcement and control happening in the network environment. And the second feature of a NAC solution is that the end goal of a NAC solution is to let them in, not to block them out. A NAC solution is addressing authenticated, authorized users. These people are legitimately trying to get in. The authorization, they're legitimately trying to get into something you want them to get into. The problem is that the vehicle they're using is not quite clean. So let me give you an example. You're coming into a building like this, and you're coming in your own car. They'll check your user ID. They'll check your driver's license and make sure you are who you say you are. Okay, that's fine. We think we know who you are. The second thing is they may ask you, why are you here? What presentation or event are you trying to access? You say, I want to access the GTSI corporate event on information sharing. They go, okay, we can do that. And then they walk around your car with a mirror and they check, is this vehicle something that we should allow in here? Is there anything wrong with this vehicle? That's essentially what NAC is about. It's about checking that the user may be quite happy with their car. They bring it, they have no problem, they think it's fine, everything is good, but you want to check before you park that under the building. And the second thing is, if you find something, you do not tell them, I'm sorry, you need to pull back out there, we think there's a bomb underneath, you go take care of it. You need to react to it, you need to offer them options, because the fact is it's generally time sensitive, because they're trying to get to something now that they need to get to now, and they may also have no idea how to fix the problem. And you're trying to let this person in. Your attention is not a shunning like an IDS would do, or a firewall, or blocking, or a VPN saying you don't have what you need, you can't come in. You've already proven this is somebody that you want to let in, and you want to let them do what they're trying to do. So when you ever are offered the option of looking at a NAC solution, those are the two requirements you want to be looking at. Is it network-based? And does the architecture support figuring out how to let them in? But essentially, you want to be looking for four things when you're looking for a NAC. The first thing is interoperability. Your NAC solution is going to have to talk to your authorization authentication environment. So it's got to be interoperable there. Your NAC solution is going to have to talk to your network environment. So it's going to have to be interoperable there. Your NAC solution is going to have to deal with your scanning tools. If you're going to use some scanning tools that you have to do those endpoint security assessments, it's going to have to be interoperable there. And your NAC solution is going to have to deal with your management and monitoring environment. It's going to have to make sure that it can report appropriately, that you can react appropriately, all your different pieces are all going to work together with this solution. So a NAC architecture is not a simple thing, unless you already have a completely simple environment that only has one product in it. There are lots of vendor frameworks. Most of the major players have come up with frameworks, and they're all pushing very hard for interoperability. So you will definitely see the press releases and different companies cross-licensing their agents, deploying both agents. Most of the players in this space are working with each other because they know that eventually all of these things are going to have to be able to talk to each other. The second big feature you want to look for in a NAC solution or a NAC architecture is that remediation component. Don't forget that you're trying to let people in. So what does the NAC solution offer you in terms of remediation? Is it neatly tied up? Does it offer you already templates for how you get people where they need to be? A NAC solution that simply blocks them and says, okay, go fix yourself, is not going to work. What that's going to generate is a lot of help desk tickets from the regular users and a lot of very high-level phone calls from the executive users. The third thing you need to look for in a NAC for use with an incoming user is the clarity of the policies. A NAC will have a policy manager that defines what it is that it's going to be checking, what it is that it's going to be measuring. If you're providing that out to a partner agency, you need to be able to articulate that in terms of security policies that you're going to apply to incoming users. So you want to be able to say something like, we will let in devices that have one of these listed antivirus products, these are accepted products, that have an engine that is no more than 30 days out of date, and that have signatures that is no more than 30 days out of date. You can issue that policy, do whatever negotiations you need to with your partner agency, and then your NAC solution can continually make sure it can download the latest versions and keep track of all the 25-digit ID numbers, but always apply that same policy consistently. You need a NAC solution for dealing with other agencies that allows you to articulate policies that clearly. If you can't articulate them, then you'll find that your partner agencies have users who aren't getting in, you don't exactly know why, you have to explain, and again, the high-level phone calls start. And then finally, for your NAC solution with an incoming user, you need to look at the strength of that endpoint security assessment feature. Some of the NAC solutions have great inbuilt capability. Some have very strong ability to import from best-of-breed scanning products. But regardless, because that is going to be the crux of having successful NAC for incoming users you can't control, that is a feature that must be present in the NAC solution and NAC architecture that you adopt.